Hi, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of Compassion Masters TV, where we share our lives because you matter. We're your host. I'm Miss Toy, here with my son, Leighton.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Part 2. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you. So I do want to do a little recap, just in case you didn't see the first episode. We told you who we are, and I'm not going to go over it again, but you just take a look at episode number 1. I received a lot of funny feedback because I kept mentioning that I was a bougie level 1. Everybody's like, well, what kind of level am I? They think they're bougie, but they don't know the level. So, look, we can go over that later.
Which is incorrect, by the way. Bougie, no, we're not.
Yes, there's levels. Yes.
Well, you're definitely no 1. So, anyways, whatever.
Yeah, I'm
just
a 1.
Keep going.
I'm a 1, folks.
No, you're not.
Anyway, so I also wanted to make a correction. Last week, I said, you didn't hear it because it was edited, but the way it was edited, to me, it sounded like I was laughing. I wasn't laughing. I did tell you that Leighton was 10 months old when his father was sentenced to 30 years in prison. And when it was re-edited, because I said 30 months, it sounds like I'm laughing, but it was not funny being left with a 10-month-old. And I know it wasn't funny to him being sentenced to 30 years. So I wanted to clear that up. Also, I didn't show you guys my logo, our logo.
Pretty sure you can't see with the laptop, but they get the point.
Put it down. Anyway, so it's a hand, and I really love it.
No, moving on. We're not about to sell no products right now. Anyways, you guys can get the product at
CompassionMastersTV.com, and the mugs are so cute, and masks and everything. They're so cute. I just want you to be part of the Compassion family. Anyway, so I also want to recap that we also are here to spread love. That's a whole purpose of Compassion Masters, is that we want to spread love in the world, and we want you to be part of that journey. So you'll hear more about us as people, but, I'm 35 years a registered nurse. Leighton is just a compassion person, born and raised that way. And we want you to join us.
What the heck are you?
You join us.
All right. Well, so what are we talking about today?
All right. So today we're going to just jump in. Last week we heard the powertripthebook.com is where you can get my book. But Power Trip is about my journey, my true story, about me starting out as just a nice little Christian church girl.
Oh, please.
Yeah. Going
you
through
would
some
edit
things.
your own story to say that.
I was a nice little Christian girl. And maybe some of you are raising your own kids, and then you can kind of see where I veered off. It was me. I take full responsibility. I'm not blaming nobody else for the way I went. But I did start leaning to my own understanding and walking away from the ways that I was taught by the church. And so that's Power Trip. But today, we'll listen to another 3 chapters, and then Leighton and I will provide commentary after that.
You're supposed to just get right into it.
The book?
Whatever we're supposed to be doing. We've been going on for 4 minutes. You've been talking about whatever you're talking about. We're supposed to turn it on, get into it.
Okay, all right. Let's dive right into it.
Sorry, everybody.
Let's dive right into it.
Chapter 2. Childish Ways, Childish Thoughts. If you ask any adult to look back on their high school years, they'll tell you those years were the years that defined them. They probably didn't realize it at the time, but looking back, it was then that our personality and general path in life was set. So yeah, the best music came out then. Everyone thinks this, no matter when you were in school. We had the best friends then. Our parents were dumb. We knew everything, and we were on top of and ready to tackle the world. Except, of course, when you were severely depressed because you just knew you were going to fail trigonometry in Spanish and be on restriction for a year. Or that cutie pie in Spanish class who just would not look your way no matter how low cut your blouse was or how tight your jeans were. None of the girls would talk to you because your face was crusty, pimply, and oozing all the time. No matter how much you showered, you sweated so much your body odor stayed in your clothes. Or better still, Mom catching you in the act of having sex with your boyfriend and then banning him from the house indefinitely. Yeah, we were on top of the world, teetering. So, for all of the maturity we thought we had, we still had some growing to do. For me, high school did set me on my path, both toward success and failure. I discovered a love of science that would lead me to a successful career. I also gained the love of a man who would not ruin me, but would help me go down a path where I willingly ruined myself. Now, of course, I couldn't know that at the time. My first year in high school, I went to my classes, made friends, joined clubs, and became semi-popular. I was not a geek, nor was I a talented athlete or particularly creative. But more importantly, I was not an outcast. With my friend Suzanne and a few new, namely Justine and Madison, a clique was formed. We fit in and were comfortable. "Hey, Marie," Suzanne elbowed me as we sat together at our regular cafeteria table. "You coming to the block party?" Suzanne's block had a party each October, with her mother organizing it, of course. Her family always invited my family, and we always went. There was music, food, and a chance to watch the guys discreetly. What wasn't to like? Just remembering and thinking about it brings a smile to my lips. "You know it," I replied. Then I immediately turned the conversation to more important matters. "What are you going to wear?" It was late spring. The weather was sunny and comfortable the day of the block party, so I wore shorts and a tank top. We couldn't wear tank tops to school, so it was fun to wear something that showed off my figure on the weekend. My dad surveyed me, looking up over his reading glasses as I headed out, but he remained silent. The party was getting underway when I got there. I found Suzanne talking with a dude I didn't know, so of course I went over to investigate. "Hey, Suzanne," I greeted her, while surreptitiously checking him out. "Marie, this is Hank Williams. He and his family just moved in behind us. He goes to our high school," Suzanne explained. I looked at this Hank. Caramel-colored skin, soulful brown eyes, but skinny and shorter than me. Some potential there, but not much. "How you doing, baby?" he asked as he checked me out, starting at my feet, moving up, lingering at my chest, and finally meeting my eyes. He winked and licked his lips. "Ugh! Yeah, right. See you at school. Come on, Suzanne." I grabbed Suzanne's arm and frog-marched her into her house. "What?" Suzanne laughed. "Yuck. He's a creep," I shuddered. "You know," she said, "he was okay until you came along." "Yeah, well, maybe that's when his true colors came out," I shot back, while trying to mask being slightly flattered and at the same time offended at the way he appraised my body. We went to Suzanne's room and collapsed on her queen-size bed. "You know he'll still see you at school," she reminded me with a giggle. Maybe she saw the spark between us even before I realized it was there. "Not if I see him first," I retorted. I didn't see him at school very much. It turned out that Hank was 2 years older than we were, a junior, and taking a different set of classes. Now, I'm not saying that I cared, but I did manage to find out he took advanced chemistry and an advanced placement English class. While I was impressed he was smart, he was still a creep to me. When I would go over to Suzanne's house, I would inevitably see Hank in his parents' yard, mowing the lawn or fiddling with the family car. He had just gotten his driver's license and thought he was all that. For some reason, which I couldn't understand, the girls seemed to like him. Of course, he played that up. Whenever he was car washing or lawn mowing, he'd pull off his shirt for the occasion. I guess so the girls could admire his no-pack. I mean, really, his caramel-colored chest was all ribs and no muscle, but he didn't seem to care. He was content to turn up his radio for the neighborhood so we could all listen to Parliament Funkadelic jams while he scrubbed clean those white walls. I paid no attention to Hank, or at least I tried not to. Whenever he passed me in the hall, he'd say that same, "How you doing, baby?" with that sleazy sort of insolent look. I'd come to expect it, as he left a scent of brute cologne behind. "Goodbye, Hank," is what I'd reply. Simple greetings coupled with, "I'm craving your body," and "You can't have my body" looks would have been the sum total of our communications. We probably would never have ever talked more than that, if it hadn't been for my father. That year, Mama had been worried about Daddy. He started to take a little longer to get moving and move a little slower once he did. Daddy, being Daddy of course, said he was fine and was just slowing down to smell the roses. Going to the doctor was not in his vocabulary. He had 2 girls to get through college, he'd explain. Since Daddy said he was fine, I wasn't worried. Well, since I'm being truthful with you, let me say this. In retrospect, I know that I just didn't pay attention. I was busy with school and friends and took Daddy's word that everything was fine because it was easier that way. It shouldn't have been a big surprise when I came home from school one day and saw a hastily scribbled note from Mama. Took Daddy to the hospital. Talk about a reality check for a typical self-centered 14-year-old. Daddy had always been my rock. Often silent, but always solid and dependable. The phone rang, bringing me back into the moment. It was Mama. Daddy had a hard time catching his breath while working, she told me tersely, and she picked him up and took him to the hospital. The emergency room doctors were checking him out and hadn't told her anything yet. Oh, I see the doctor coming. She hung up hastily. I waited by the phone, pacing, but she didn't call back. I started to panic, imagining the worst. The fear was so great, I knew I had to do something. I needed to see my father. I picked up the phone and called Suzanne. I quickly explained the situation and asked if her mother could drive me to the hospital. Oh, Marie, I'm so sorry, she said. Ma just left to go to the mall. Suzanne was silent for a moment. Marie, I have an idea, but you probably won't like it. Hank is outside washing his folks' car. He'll take you if you ask. Want me to? Yes, I said urgently. Get him, please. I scribbled a new note for Ray to find when she came home after her track practice and went out and stood on the front steps waiting for the guy I'd always treated with disdain. Not even 5 minutes later, Hank pulled up in his parents' car. I rushed to meet him. Don't give me a hard time, Hank, I said in a defiantly wobbly voice. I need a ride to the hospital. Just get me there, okay? Surprisingly, he did just that. He didn't do any of his typical leering or lip-licking. He just let me be quiet, listen to the radio, and draw the calm around me. Soon, he pulled into the emergency entrance. Want me to stay? I took a look at him, probably the first good look I'd given him since we met. His brown eyes were surprisingly sincere, concerned. I touched his arm. No, but Hank, thanks. He winked. Anything for you, baby girl. Lord. I got out of the car and took a deep breath before going into the emergency entrance. God, I said, as I went through those doors, please take care of my daddy. Please let him be okay. I'll spend more time with him, I promised. I'll take care of him if you'll let him be okay. I rounded the hallway to the emergency waiting room and felt a lurch in my stomach as I saw Mama sitting there crying. Oh, Mama! I felt the tears well up in my own eyes. He's going to be all right, Marie. She took a deep breath. He had a little episode, the doctor called it, but if he slows down and cuts down on stress, he'll be just fine. Praise God. And he was. He came home from the hospital 2 days later, and a week after that, he was back at work. Mama started cooking with no salt. Can we say nasty? And whether it was with the no salt or the enforced rest or the medicine he now took, Daddy got that spring back in his step. To our chagrin, he still insisted on smoking his cigarettes. A man's got to have a little something, he explained. Thank you, God, I remembered to say. This is a good man, and as much as you might want him with you, I really need him with me. God chuckled fondly and said, Marie, don't you know that I will provide?
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We just finished listening to chapters 1 through 3. If you didn't have time to listen to it, because I understand everybody's busy, you can take a listen to it later. We just want to address some of the things that came up in chapter 1. It shows Marie, my character, who that's my middle name, Marie, how I was just growing up in a normal middle-class home with loving parents, a sister, just, innocent little child.
Well, tell them how it turned.
So the gentleman in the book, Hank, that's Layden's real father. And it turns because I had sex. That was really
what?
That was really how it turned.
All right, where?
I'm sorry, son, if it embarrasses you, but you wouldn't be here if me and your dad didn't have sex. So
Well, we're canceling this episode anyway.
No.
Yeah, we are.
Anyway, the whole point is you shouldn't really do it until you are mature and ready, because that's when my life took a dramatic turn. And you'll see in the future episodes. But, just take a listen to 1 and 2, and then let's talk. I want to talk about growing up, just being a girl, and the stuff that you have to deal with when you're a young lady, maturing.
We are definitely not talking about that. No, we're not. We're going to talk about something else. We're going to talk about the differences between growing up as a girl versus a boy. We're not about to be talking about blossoming in the...
But that is one of the things that girls grow up.
Well, you can do that on your own show. We're not about to be sharing this episode, and I'm not talking to you about that. So
all right, well, go ahead.
What? No, what are the differences?
What was it like growing up as a boy? I've never been a boy. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I thought it was, that's all I know. So I thought it was easy, but everyone always talks about, not just her. I know that there are double standards from girls to boys. And most of the time it's in favor of the boy. But then there's some where it obviously favors the girls too. But yeah, I don't know. I think it would be different if No, I don't want to say that. I just think it would be different maybe if both of you guys were in the house, because then I wouldn't just have only a woman's perspective. It would be a man's perspective too.
That's true.
And actually, maybe I'd get away with more stuff because he knows how he was when he was a boy. So never mind. You can start.
Yeah, never mind.
You start.
Okay, so I think for me, like I said before, and you may not want to hear it, but I really do think parents, we need to talk to our kids more about sex. And you have to say it. It is what it is. Because my mother just kind of took me through things like just dropped pills on the bed, birth control pills, didn't really discuss anything, didn't share herself. So I really grew up listening to other people, kind of figuring it out on my own. And I think that was part of my detriment when I just started trying to figure things out on my own. Mother was a great person. She just grew up in a time where it was more silent. They didn't do a lot of talking. It wasn't really
yeah, but that's open. A lot of people, though.
True. Even today.
Yeah, but a lot of people figure it out on their own. Nobody wants to go talk to their parents. And parents are scared to talk to their kids anyway. So who really
I'm encouraging.
I'm just saying, who really speaks to their parents, sits them down, really... some people do.
Some people do.
That doesn't prevent it. I know some of my friends who got that, and they're the craziest ones.
Yeah, it's true. You're not going to prevent anything, but I still feel like you shouldn't have to learn it from somewhere else when you can learn it from your parents.
Yeah, you could learn it from your parents, but I'm saying most parents are uncomfortable with the subject just as much as the kid is. And the kid for sure isn't going to be the one bringing it up. They don't want to talk about it anyway, so the parent's not going to do it, and then it just becomes this awkwardness in the house. And your daughter got her first period or whatever, and then your son is starting to walk around differently with his chest puffed out, whatever. They're growing up. But then
I'm interested in hearing any parents that have had successful sex talks with your children and you feel like it benefited the child. No. I want to hear from you.
Well, they're not going to speak up because nobody does that. But I don't know. You could try.
Or children, young people, young adults. If you had a talk, your parents gave you the talk about sex and it helped and you felt like you knew enough and it made you make different decisions, I want to hear from you.
What age do you think is appropriate then to talk about that?
Well, being a registered nurse, we encourage.
I want to hear from the nurse. As a parent, what age do you think? As a parent,
I think anytime your child is able to understand, and you have to know your own child, you have to know if that's the time based on what your child's intellect is. I can't just give an age.
But what if it was like an average, or what use me then?
For you, well, you wasn't even really in. It would have been awkward talking to you about it before.
I told you. See, it's what? Don't try to make it like, well, with you is different. No, it's awkward for every parent, just like it's for every kid.
Well, what I'm saying is,
we got that on tape. Thank you.
No.
Yeah, you just said right now.
Whatever, Layton. All I'm saying is, it It can be awkward. However, it's necessary.
Don't try and get all professional. No, you said what you said.
Did I come in your room with a banana and show you how to put a condom on?
Okay, never mind. Cut the cameras off. No, we're not doing that. Never mind. Yes, she did, and she's also insane. And I didn't want to listen anyways. I had my headphones on. I wasn't trying to listen to anything you were saying. So anyways.
Well, I'm just saying it was important to me that you knew how to put a condom on. I never said said don't do, because I just feel like you don't listen. Like you said, people don't listen. But if you know going in how to put a condom on.
All right. Okay. I don't even know why it's uncomfortable. I have a baby now and I'm a dad. I don't know why. I'm older. I'm still uncomfortable. So stop. We're not doing this right now.
Okay. Well, anyway, next week Marie meets Hank. That's when the tables start to turn. Hank is Layden's real father.
Okay.
So I met him as a teenager, and things go from there. And that's what I'm saying. I know the parents are always trying to keep their kids from having boyfriends and girlfriends, and we can't really stop that either. So just anybody who knows anything that you can help a sister out.
You're already done raising.
Well, I got a granddaughter coming, and maybe you can help my son and his wife out. Maybe.
Oh, I already know. She's not going out of the house, so that's fine with me.
She's not going out the house?
Yeah, that's double standard for sure. She's not going out of the house.
Okay, guys, help us out. We need it. For girls, what can we do to help the girls, the young ladies? Anyway, so I do want to thank you for listening in today. And say thank you to my son. Or thank you to my son for always having my back. Thank you to Tony Quaid and Anthony Smith. We appreciate you. And thank you to the audience. We already we know that the world is going to change. We really want to thank you. We're going to make this a better place, one day at a time. Have a blessed day.
Yep, definitely. We appreciate you guys. See you next time.